Okay, check it out. we're gonna dive a little deeper on this intro to improvisation on bass. I'm not talking about soloing here. I'm talking about spontaneous bass lines that are evolving like on the fly with the band. Okay, so I did an earlier video, really basic single step approach to, like, you think of it as like your first exercise in learning to improvise. And in that video, we used a very simple 4-bar bass line in C major, so like a 1 chord, 1 chord, 1 chord, 1 chord, repeat. And what we did was, we emphasized the root in the first bar. We emphasized the major third in the second bar, the 5, the 5th in the third bar, back to the 3 for the 4th bar, and then repeat. So those were our targets. You could think of it like the skeleton, a skeleton of targets that we're like using as a means to improvise. Okay, and I talk more about that in my first video, and I'll try to get a link there in my description to point you back if you want to see that. But for this video, I want to talk about let's add some more steps, and this. Oh, looks like Alexa's talking to me. Let's talk about doing a 3-step approach to these targets, and we're going to do 2 flavors. We're going to do diatonic steps and chromatic steps, and don't let these naming conventions confuse you. I'll explain what diatonic and chromatic mean for those who don't know. But let's get right to it. So we've got our skeleton. Okay, we're going from the root to the 3rd to the 5th to the 3rd, back to the root to the, and it just repeats this idea. Okay, those are the targets. This isn't the bass line. Those are the target notes that I'm leading my ear towards. Okay, or leading my listeners' ears towards. Okay, and the first one we're going to do is we're gonna take 3 steps. We're going to use a quarter note rhythm. Really simple. And we're going to use 3 steps on the beat 2, 3, and 4. That's where these 3 steps are going to go. And they're going to take us to the downbeat and the next bar on the chord tone target. Okay? So the first bar is going to look like this. I played the downbeat of the next bar there. So it's like 1, so root, 2, 3, 4, 3rd. So that's that first 3-note diatonic approach. So what diatonic means is I'm using the scale tones. I'm just stepping through the scale tones, and I'm in C major right now. That C major, those chord tones come from the C major scale, right? And I'm basically just, if this is where I'm headed, well, I'm going to go back 3 steps in that scale, right? So that's where I'm targeting. So I want 1, 2, 3 before I land on that target. So you can, however you do that, you just want to make sure you've got 3 steps before you land on your target note, okay? So to get to our G, we're going to do the same thing. Those are the 3 diatonic steps. So if I want to know where those are, I can go backwards, and there's so there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, And then for the root, I want to go back 3 steps. So 1, 2, 3. So those are going to be my. So I want to glue those. These are all approaching in an upward motion towards those target tones. So I'm going to play this exercise, okay? Think of this as an exercise or a study. And it goes like this. So you can slow that down in YouTube. You can bring that down to like quarter speed if you want. See what's going on there. But you'll see that bass line is I've just fleshed out a skeleton of target notes and approached each of those target notes with 3 steps, 3 diatonic steps, ascending steps towards those targets. That's all I did. So let's flip this around. Let's play 3 diatonic notes from above. So let's descend onto those targets. So for the root, I know I'm going to have to play. Those are the 3 notes above, right? If I play it in order here, so this is where my target is. So 1, 2, 3, right? So those are the notes I'm going to use to return back to the 1. To get to the 3, I know I'm going to play 1, 2, 3, gets me to the 3rd. And then to get to the 5, right? So C, B, A, G. So those are the steps I'm going to use to get to those target chord tones, okay? So let's play through this. And all of that. You know, you can, and that's a study. That's a study, but what you want to be like taking away here is like that 3-note approach idea. It's, I guess what's important to take away from this is that we're reserving the downbeat of the 1 for an important chord tone, an important like supportive note. You know, I'm playing the root, the 3, and the 5, and those are the only notes that are allocated to the downbeat on each bar. The downbeat being the 1, the 1. So that's a diatonic approach. So here's a homework exercise, if you want one, is take those ascending and descending, and mix them up. Try flipping them around. Like, you know, try ascending, you know, towards one. Try descending to another. Like, play around with a few different ideas. And that's a simple 3-step diatonic approach, okay, to improvising. An exercise. Let's talk about the chromatic version of that, the chromatic concept. So chromatic just means it's like not necessarily in the key. There's may or may not be accidentals. That's my own definition of it, because to me, like, whether they're diatonic or chromatic, they're all just acting like passing tones. They're all just acting as a vehicle to get me to where I'm going. So whether they're in or out, you know, who cares? Sometimes the notes you pick are in, and sometimes they're out. they're all transitional. In any event, I'm going to show you a chromatic approach. And what I'm going to do is just, instead of using diatonic steps, I'm going to just use a series of 3 half-note steps to get to those gold tones, those target notes, okay? And so in this first, just to switch things up a little bit, we're going to make 3 half steps towards each of them, and we're going to do it in a descending pattern. So to hit that C, I know I'm going to have to go up 1, 2, 3, right? 3 half steps. So I'll get this, right? To get to the third, same thing. 1, 2, 3. To get to the fifth, right? 1, 2, 3. There's just 3 half steps above. And then I'm descending. Right? And you can see that that's a lot more colorful. We're not restricting ourselves to the notes of the key. We're not staying strictly in the key. We've got some accidentals in there. So let's play that through and hear what it sounds like. So my bass line is going to sound like this. And you'll have to forgive, I'm getting lots of notifications here on my Mac. So that bass line I just played there is really very similar to the it's very similar to that diatonic version. The only difference is I'm using like a chromatic passage of notes instead of diatonic, okay? But it functions the same way. It's just one's a little more colorful, let's say, than the other. When I say colorful, and this is what chroma means, right? Chromatic means color. I think it's an old Latin word. One's just a little more colorful than the other. It kind of dances outside a little bit, which is cool. Let's do the same thing with ascending chromatics. So for the root to get, I'd go back, right? So 3 steps, 3 half steps back. To the third, I'd go, sorry, forgive me. I'm going to play the third here. Right? And then for the fifth, and we're going to get we play that bass line through, we're going to get that's starting to sound reminiscent of some of like the old like blues, like walking bass lines that we've all heard. Forgive my confusion on setting those up, but I think you see, you just want to know where your targets are and then walk in half steps, 3 half steps up towards each of those target tones. Let's play that one really slow again. So root, 3, 5, 3, root. So there you go. That's basically ascending and descending 3-step approaches that you can use for improvising. So homework exercise number 2. Take all those ideas. Take the diatonic ascending and descending, the chromatic ascending and descending ideas, and mix them up. Try playing around with Try playing around with different variations. Maybe try alternating between chromatic and diatonic. See what you get. For example, really quickly here, let's say I want to diatonically move upwards to the third, but then chromatically move downward toward the 5. So I might go. That could be my. You start to see like the bass line is now sort of taking on a more dynamic and more colorful effect. And these can kind of be like a playbook that you can pull from, these ideas. If you like this kind of stuff, if it makes sense, if you want to learn, some more practical approaches to improvising, I'm going to dig into this stuff in more and more detail. With that, if you like this, subscribe. If you don't like it, that's cool too. Leave me a comment. I read all my comments. Stay cool.